So, good evening to everyone. We're back. It's been a while. God, it's been 2 years, hasn't it? We did an episode just after we did Manitoba. We did our episode in Niagara. We did an episode just after that with Brian and Eric, and that was about January time. So definitely a year, a solid year since we did any D&D. So, we're back. Right. Where were we? So, a bit of a recap of the game so far. We had our players. Well, I'll go right back to the beginning since it's been a while. Our players met in the usual tavern. They were drinking and eating and probably farting. And a bedraggled old man kind of turned up at the door looking like an escaped prisoner. Rather than try and kill him, they decided to help him. And he led them to an old watchtower where some of the local villagers had been kidnapped and were being held hostage to mine something in the foundations of the tower. They went in, they rescued the prisoners. Only some of them were killed by accident because, you know, thunder waves. And they were psychically encouraged to move down a little corridor, mine shaft that had been cut in the stone, pulling them through a portal where they were brought into a huge underground chamber in which a dragon was chained to the floor. The dragon bargained with them. The dragon wasn't actually pleased to see you because he was having a nap. But he did offer the party some boons if they were to free him. And like the gullible idiots that all D&D players are, they decided to do exactly that. They climbed the giant spiral staircase up into the Great Library. They did some research, learned a few languages, learned a few spells, came back down, and they examined his chains, on which carved runes, each of which was a riddle, and once the riddles were solved, the chains snapped, releasing the dragon. The dragon kept his word and rewarded you with some rather nice items, and then he proceeded to burn his way out of the mountain that he was incarcerated in, because the space that you were in was in the center of the great mountain at the center of the Discworld. And he started burning his way out so he could wreak revenge on all of the magic users. What's the word I'm looking for? All not ancestors, the other way around. Descendants. That's the word I'm looking for. So all of the descendants of the magic users that had imprisoned him in this mountain, he was going to go out there and just wipe the disc clear of them in just pure revenge. Feeling a little guilty, our players decided that it might be a good idea to try and stop him, maybe reason with him a little. And they proceeded down to Ankh-Morpork, the famous city at the center of the disc. Not quite the center, a little bit to the left. There they encountered the City Watch. There they encountered the Unseen University, and they met the librarian, the disc's foremost expert on dragons, having written several books on this topic, one of which is called D is for Dragon. The librarian pointed to the great map of the Discworld, and a tiny little island right out towards the rim called the Dragon Watch Islands, where, rumour has it, in the last 1,000 years, a dragon has been secretly hidden there. And while they were in the city, they also had some encounters with some very strange robed, hooded people who were following their moves very carefully. We also had a couple of ne'er-do-wellers trying to waylay the party and delay the party. one of whom was a small child who Mr. Pump almost crushed into a pulp. Bad things happen when you fail a strength saving throw in this game. In any case, they managed to save up some coin by clearing out some catacombs under a cathedral, and following that they pretty much bought a ship, taking them around the Circle Seas towards the Dragonwatch Islands. They were pursued by some pirates, they were engaged by some other pirates, and they met the legendary David Jones Jr. and the Flying Dutchman. Following a brief encounter with some Clatchian war galleys, the dragon priests who have been pursuing you summoned a kraken. Your ship transformed into a dirigible, but a little bit too late. And the kraken, with all of its lightning and tentacles, did quite a lot of damage to the ship as you were trying to escape. Somebody had the damn fool idea of putting on a crown that you had found somewhere in the catacombs, which psychically linked you to the great dragon. And the dragon, as a returned favour, decided to help rescue you by coming down from orbit like a meteor striking the Earth and burning the kraken to pieces. That said, the obtuse triangle, your ship-stroke dirigible, was badly damaged and you crashed in the deserts of Clatch. You trekked across the deserts looking for spares and materials to repair the ship. You were captured by slavers. There's a surprise. And you were imprisoned and taken to fight in the gladiator pits. Mr. Pump, who hopefully will be joining us later, was separated and the golems were fighting separately. Upon winning your freedom in the gladiator arena, the Seraph of Clatch was very impressed and slightly entertained by your story of free golems around the disc, and also of your travels and your adventures. He sent you on your way along with a series of golems to the deserts of Dajel, or, well, Dajeli Baby. And crossing the river Dajel, you found the ancient pyramids of King Tepikhaimon the 27th. Ruler of the sun, charioteer of the sun, steersman of the bark of the sun, keeper of the way, guardian of knowledge, all that stuff. Once you did a little job for him, helping his pyramid engineers cap off the latest of the pyramids, he sent you on your way with some blessings and some bonuses. And there was also a story that the golems had told you, that a great power lies in the oldest of the pyramids here. So you set out across the desert to find the pyramid of King Tepikhaimon the First. Upon finding the pyramid, you did the little tour of the lower levels with the mummified custodian guiding you around through some of the histories. You crossed the velvet rope, that was a mistake, and proceeded up into the burial chamber of the Tomb of the Seven Ks, which was Pharaoh's 7 Karen wives. All of them with their Karen haircuts, all screaming for to speak to a manager, because none of them have had any service, or their drinks, or the floor swept in 1,000 years. Mr. Pump made the mistake of laying hands on one of the Ks, and the guard appeared, floating down through the ceiling. And you were judged and tried and summarily executed. Oh, sorry, Mr. Pump was summarily executed before Brian, our cleric, decided to offer his own life in place of the golems. And you instead were killed. If not for Sam's feather necklace that gave you a 1-up. Sam's feather necklace that she found underneath the catacombs was a phoenix down. And for those of you that have been following the stream for a while, that was the one I actually made for her and sent her albeit she had no idea what it did until the events occurred in the game. You proceeded through the judgment, through the trials of Osiris, where the priest pulled your heart out, laid it on a scale, and weighed your heart for good and evil doings. And you all passed. Mostly. Proceeding up into the upper levels, you found the puzzle room of Pharaoh's golden balls. And you had to ring the balls simultaneously before all the sands crept up and drowned you. Well, sorry, buried you in the sand. And the final level was Pharaoh's tomb itself. And Pharaoh there, reclining on a chaise longue, being fanned by his mummy hose, apparently needing some milk, if I remember rightly. I think that was the clip. And he granted you access to whatever you needed, including his pleasure craft that was parked on the very top level of the pyramid. And that's where you found the golden falcon. A giant solid gold bird that, when activated by the golem using his special expanding rod, which he has to stroke to get it to work, turns into a flying machine. Pharaoh's pleasure craft, which he flew around his kingdom, probably just drinking and womanizing his way down the Gel River. You explored a little bit more of the surrounding area. There were some other legends of some strange giant crystals that were hidden in a cave somewhere. And you decided to go and look for those. You encountered a genie, a very angry genie, who had been sealed up for far too long. And you also met the Grand Wizard Balthazar again. Balthazar, with a snap of his fingers, has the habit of changing your fates. Very, very powerful guy. Really good guy. Great friend. Solid guy. Best guy in the world. Best guy in the world. And the last thing that you did was soaring out from those desert canyons. You got sucked into frankly, a portal or a wormhole. Your pilot, Mr. Pump, made many failed flying saving throws. And I must stress the many. I did give him plenty of chances. I think it was 3 or 4 he failed. To keep the Golden Falcon under control, and you were sucked into the portal and crashed on the side of a snowy mountain. So that brings us to last episode. Last episode, you managed to dig your way out of the Falcon, which was upside down and wedged in the snow. Began trekking your way down the mountain, following some signed footpath, and you bumped into a Yeti. And the Yeti said he had been sent to get you and take you back to the valley. This was all a bit of a surprise, since the Yeti was slightly Norwegian. And upon arriving in the valley, you saw the monastery of Oidong, which is where the time monks, or the history monks, are based. He led you to the rope bridge that stretched across the valley, but after that he could go no further. And you proceeded down across the Shangri-La looking rope bridge and penance into the buildings themselves, and were met by Lutze, aka Sweeper, who had been expecting you and was wondering what took you so damn long. Sweeper took you straight to see the abbot, and the great abbot was in the main hall, surrounded by his acolytes and servants, screaming for Beckett and potty, potty, potty. The abbot, well, the abbot is an 18-month-old baby. Because Mark didn't watch last episode. Just catching you up there. But by way of explanation, and I'll cover this again in the game later, but most of the monks of time have mastered the art of circular aging. The abbot did not, so he has to rely on reincarnation, which is very inconvenient, especially in the formative years. And goodness knows what the wet nurse must do. I mean, you just don't know where to look. The abbot has a mission for you, and Lutze will fill you in on all of those details in today's episode. So, with that recap, any questions so far as we are about to begin episode 30? Did we lose somebody? I heard somebody's headset beeping and then disconnect. That might have been mine. Hang on, is it mine? Yeah, I think that was my headset that disconnected. 1 second. Am I still here?
Forget to charge it, did you?
Okay, I'm going to take my headset off because I think the battery might be dead. So, we're going back to speakers. Okay, I thought I charged that the other day. Apparently I did not. Right, you guys can hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, desktop audio is coming through. You may get some echo because I'm back to speakers now, but let me know and I'll kind of tweak the volumes as much as I can. Oh, also means I don't have to mess my hair up. And I can take my glasses on and off. Hey, I've still got most of it.
Yeah, that's true. Mine's pretty well getting there.
Yeah. Still looks like it's the original color unless you're hiding that.
No, there's a lot of grey in there. Well, it's starting to come through, but yeah, I'm not quite widow peaking yet. All the men in my family are bald. My dad was in his late 20s, started balding. My granddad was bald. All of it. My granddad's brothers were bald. All of my mother's brothers were bald, except me. Now, they say it's supposed to skip a generation, which means my sister is fucked. But, yeah, I put it down to one thing and one thing only. I'm not married.
That could be.
That's why I still have my hair. Life tips for everyone there. Right, so the last thing we were doing, you were being led out of the abbot's presence while his acolytes tended to him because the abbot needed the potty. He'd had his biscuit and he wanted the potty. Lutze was leading you out. So, any questions before we kick off with a prologue for episode 30?
No?
No, that I can think of.
I'm just ready to dive in.
Did any of that make any sense, or did I totally make it all up?
Well, as
one
you were
half
saying,
dozen of the
I
others
was
for me.
looking in.
It's going to be a little bit awkward, at least for me, because I'm also running this campaign at a local D&D wargaming club just across the river from me. And they've not only caught up, but they've actually surpassed you. So they're actually in the next chapter. We do 6-week blocks, and I do 1 block on, 2 blocks off, so that the other players can run in other games as well. And most of my players are actually DMs as well. My game has become so popular. It's constantly oversubscribed, and most of the people that are playing in the game are actual DMs of their own games. So we kind of do, like, I'll run 6 weeks, and then we take a couple of sessions off so that they can then run their games. But they've actually surpassed you now. So normally I make this crap up as I go, but I've actually got it all written down for a change.
Kind of had to now.
So, prologue. This is episode 30 of our game, formerly known as The Birth of Dragon's Fire, now unofficially known as The Ballad of Mr Pump. The first words... Oh, by the way, I'm reading from Terry Pratchett's own work here. This is an extract from The Thief of Time. The first words read by seekers of enlightenment in the secret, gong-banging, yeti-haunted valleys near the hub of the world are read when they look into the life of Wen the Eternally Surprised. The first question they ask is, why was he eternally surprised? And they are told, when considered the nature of time and understood the universe is, instant by instant, recreated anew. Therefore he understood there is no truth, there is no past, only a memory of the past. Blink your eyes, and the world you see next did not exist when you closed them. Therefore, he said, the only appropriate state of mind is surprise. The only appropriate state of the heart is joy. The sky you now see, you have never seen before. The perfect moment is now. Be glad of it. The first words read by the young Lutze when he sought perplexity in the dark, teeming, rain-soaked cities of Ankh-Morpork were the words, rooms for rent, very reasonable. And he was glad of it. According to the first scroll of When the Eternally Surprised, Wen and Clodpool reached the Green Valley between the towering mountains, and Wen said, "This is our place. Here there will be a temple dedicated to the following... dedicated to the folding and unfolding of time. I can see it." "I can't, Master," said Clodpool. Wen said, "It's over there. Look." He pointed, and his arm vanished. "Ah," said Clodpool, "over there." A few cherry blossom petals drifted down onto Wen's head from one of the trees that grew wild along the streamlets. "And this perfect day will last forever," he said. "The air is crisp, the sun is bright, there is ice in the streams. Every day in this valley will be the perfect day." "Could get a bit repetitive, Master," said Clodpool. "That is because you don't know how to deal with time," said Wen. "But I will teach you to deal with time, as you deal with a coat, to be worn when necessary and discarded when not." "Will I have to wash it?" said Clodpool. Wen gave him a long, slow look. "This was either a very complex piece of thinking on your part, Clodpool, or you were just trying to overextend a metaphor in a rather stupid way. Which do you think it was?" Clodpool looked at his feet, then he looked at the sky, then he looked at his master. "I think I am stupid, Master." "Good," said Wen. "It is fortuitous that you are my apprentice at this time, because if I can teach you, Clodpool, I can teach anyone." Clodpool looked relieved and bowed. "You do me too much honor, Master." "And there is the second part to my plan," said Wen. "Ah," said Clodpool, with an expression that he thought made him look wise, although in reality it made him look like someone remembering a painful bowel movement. "A plan with a second part is always a good plan, Master." "Find me the sands of all colors and a flat rock. I will show you a way to make the currents of time visible." "Oh, right." "And there is a third part to my plan." "A third part, Master?" "I can teach a gifted few to control their time, to slow it and speed it up, and store it and direct it like the water in these streams. But most people will not, I fear, let themselves become able to do this. We have to help them. We will have to build devices that will store and release time to where it is needed, because men cannot progress if they are carried like leaves on a stream. People need to be able to waste time, to make time, lose time, and buy time. This will be our major task." Clodpool's face twisted with the effort of understanding. Then he slowly raised a hand. Wen sighed. You're going to ask what happened to the coat, aren't you? He said. Clodpool nodded. Forget about the coat, Clodpool. The coat is not important. Just remember that you are a blank paper on which I will write. Wen held up his hand as Clodpool opened his mouth. Just another metaphor. Just another metaphor. And now, please, make some lunch. Metaphorically or really, Master? Both. A flight of white birds burst out of the trees and wheeled overhead before swooping across the valley. There will be doves, said Wen, as Clodpool hurried off to light a fire. Every day there will be doves. So, you are in the Valley of Oidong, in the monastery of the History Monks. Imagine a cliff face that has maybe the odd shelf here and there, and buildings have been built up and carved into the mountain. There are monasteries in France, actually, that have been carved into natural caves, where they've taken natural cliff caves and expanded them into huge spaces. But the monks have also built out on the flat plateaus. So there's lots of steps, and there's lots of wooden carved handrails with gold gilting all along, and lots of the little triangular flags fluttering everywhere. It's very, very Doctor Strange. You are taken out of the main area by. Oh, let me close that. By Lutze, and he leads you across the courtyard through one of the little kind of archways in the rock, and takes you into what is essentially a walled garden. Ah, this is my garden of 5 surprises. If I were you, I would not touch anything. Please, follow me. He leads you quickly through the garden. Are any of you going to touch anything?
No.
He leads you.
Well, the question is, would Sam's character touch anything?
Sam's character would touch something. Give me investigation rolls, please. I'll do one for Sam. Oh God, Sam touched something.
13.
$17.
17, 13, 17, and Sam got a 14. Mark, can I get a dexterity saving throw from you? Dexterity or acrobatics?
Oh, I'll do my acrobatics, but that's way better.
Yeah, that's what you think.
That's an 18.
As you're proceeding through the garden, you see what looks like a little wooden arched bridge that travels over a stream. It's got a very low railing, almost as if it was built for children to be leaning over rather than a full adult. And as you approach it, you notice that the stream is actually a small pond, just a very long, swirly shaped pond. In it are lots of carp. Very pretty, very ornamental, very large, and thus very old carp. They look at you expectantly, like carp do. And as you make to step onto the bridge, you suddenly find yourself slightly unbalanced and step off as the bridge tilts and would have tipped you into the carp pond. Ah, you have found one of my surprises.
Surprise.
Ah, notice that I am not surprised that you touched something. Brian, you're looking at some of the flowers, and you notice that there are lots of little sculptures dotted around the flower beds and around the garden in general. One of which is a tiny sculpture of a bronze butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
You lean close, and you lean closer, and the closer you get, the more detail that seems to appear in this sculpture. Even though the statue appears to be made of bronze, the colours shimmer and change as if they were real butterfly wings. And you get so close that you accidentally breathe upon the butterfly, and the bronze butterfly starts flapping its wings at you.
Somehow I knew that was going to happen.
Ah, says Lutze, suddenly appearing behind you. You have found one of my surprises. This one does not bite. Sam, on a 14, is examining a flower bed with multiples of different varieties of flowers arranged into a geometric pattern. And in one section there seems to be what look like very common daisies. Little white-petaled flowers, maybe an inch across, with a little yellow centre. And as she leans close, and typical with Sam, the daisies spit a liquid at her. The liquid lands on her suit and starts sizzling, catching a little bit of hair, which starts to just smoke gently. Ah, you have found one of my surprises, says Lutze, appearing behind the rogue. These ones you should not touch. Very dangerous. Also very good for getting rid of the green fly. He collects up the rest of you. Let me give a roll for Mr. Pump. On a 2, Mr. Pump knows damn well not to touch anything. Mr. Pump stands there like the statue that he used to be. Carefully observing, very scared of everything around him. Because he gets the feeling that just stepping in the grass might kill things that he doesn't want to kill. Lutze leads you through a wooden archway. Up a short flight of stairs carved into the rock cliffside, and gestures to a big wooden door. About 3 meters, 12 or so feet tall, made out of dark wood, decorated with bronze metal fixtures, painted around the edges and gilded in gold. As he gestures towards the door swings open, and you see a large wooden room. It is decorated with the usual red ornamental carvings. There are 4 pillars in the center of the room, and in the center of the room you can also see there are mats and cushions laid out, as well as what looks like very low-level tables. And on the tables you can see food and drink have been supplied for you. Please, have a seat. The acolytes will be here shortly. You will find at each side of this space are your quarters. You may sleep, you may rest. There is also training facilities here for you if you wish to practice. We also have a very extensive library if you wish to further your knowledge. The abbot will speak to you more tomorrow about the details, but I can tell you now that we need you for a very special mission. I have been following your adventures from the very beginning. I think some of you may even have seen me out of the corner of your eyes. I do get a lot of side-eye. Something to do with the orange robes, I think. You have been collecting artifacts 2 of these artifacts were given to you by the great dragon himself when he released you. You have also been made aware of the prophecy. More details of that we will discuss tomorrow. As the history monks, our purpose is to ensure that time happens, that tomorrow comes after today. And boy, have we had some work to do with you lot. We have authorized the runtime of 4 cylinders just to get you here, but I will show you those also in the morning. You have been recovering artifacts that have been made of the dragon's own scale, have you not?
Yes.
The black with gold veined metal that some of your items are made of. I believe so far you have a knife, a crown, and a staff. Mr. Pump dutifully holds up the golden rod that he picked up from the pharaoh. He resists the urge to stroke it. These artifacts are all weapons in their own right. I think you have found this out already. These artifacts can also be combined to create a god-killing weapon. What we need you to do is to find the next piece. The monks, the abbot, all of us here agree that this current timeline is the most preferable outcome. So to ensure that this timeline continues, you have another piece to retrieve. Deep within this mountain, an artifact is hidden, and we require you to go down there and bring it back. The abbot will give you more details tomorrow. There is one final piece that you will need to recover, and that is in the pyramids of Muntab. You have your golden falcon. That should not be too much of a problem. By the way, Lutze turns to address Mr. Pump. Your falcon will be fine. The Yetis have righted it, and they will be bringing it down this way shortly. It will be here for you when you return. But for now, please eat and rest, and we will see you in the morning. As he says this, 4 junior initiates appear at the side of the room. They trot out in unison, and they all slide open wooden panelled doors. And you can see the quarters that have been set up for you. Looking in through the corner of the doors, you see that sleeping mats have been laid out for you. There is a small porcelain bowl that can be used for washing and cleaning yourself. And fresh food has already been laid out in the center of the room. I know you will have many questions, but they can wait for tomorrow. For now, rest, and I will see you in the morning. Lutze bows. All of the initiates bow immediately in response, and he turns and walks out of the room. The initiates take a few steps forward and bow to you, waiting for any requests or instructions. Get!
Yeah, I'll probably sit down and start eating too.
Yeah, same. And just cat.
The food is good. It's very simple. Very simple, unleavened bread, like flatbreads. Lots of pickles and chutneys have been laid out in tiny little dishes. There is some meat, very heavily spiced. Not chili hot, not burning your tongue hot, but very powerful, strong flavors. And a lot of things that look like they've been ground or pureed. Everything, a lot of it looks like hummus of some sort. The food is very nourishing. It's extremely favorable, and it disappears very quickly. Water is laid out for you. The water is crystal clear and ice cold, almost if it's been melted from a glacier moments ago. And huge jugs of it sit on the table. You all eat, you all drink, and after an hour or so, you all take the decision to retire to your rooms. So if you hadn't rested or recuperated after whenever the last session was, make sure you reset your stats. We will be leveling up at the end of this chapter again anyway. So if Brian, did you level up at the end of last time? Can you remember?
I believe I did.
Okay. So you'll be up to, what level are you on? Is it level 9?
No, I think just Mr. Pump was level 9, wasn't
Okay,
he?
so Pump's at 9, you're at 8. Mark, you should be at level 8 now. But we'll worry.
I started, you had me come in at level 9.
You came in at level 9.
Right, which means I thought everybody else was like 9 or 10.
Okay, Mr. Pump is a level ahead of everyone. So you should all be at level 9, level 10, which means technically for today you should all be at level 10. But we'll worry about that later because you're not going to be needing too many stats today. Just make a note somewhere, leveling up to level 10 after this session. Eric will be going up to 11. Right, can I get wisdom saving throws from everyone, please?
Ooh. 8.
11.
You both have Sam and Mr. Pump both passed, by the way. You both have odd dreams. Mark, Marlowe dreams that he is late, very late. He's running through a cathedral. He seems to be formally dressed, but he's late. He's just got this overwhelming feeling that he's late, and he keeps turning in the wrong direction. So you're having you're lost in a very large building and you're late for something dream. Brian, you have a very troubling dream. You're sitting on a cold stone floor under a spotlight. The light seems to come from hundreds of feet above you. And you're looking around, you can see nothing beyond this little cone of light. As you're looking around, the cone expands and expands and expands until it's about, say, 10 meters across, about 30 feet across. And you see a ring of pairs of boots around you. And as your eyes adjust, and as the cone expands that little bit more, you can see that you're sitting in a ring of statues. The statues all resemble the gods, or the popular gods of Ankh-Morpork. And one of them is Offla.
Okay.
They all seem to be made out of stone. They've been painted and gilded and decorated. But they're all just standing, looking down at you sternly. As you look around, Offla leans forward, bringing his huge stone head down towards you. You hear the words, "Are you still faithful?" and then you wake from your dream. You've all woken restfully. You're all nicely rested. It is very early morning. The kind of paper paneling on these wood frame doors lets a lot of light in. And you can see that the doors have been opened just a crack, just a couple of centimeters. And just outside the door, there is a small plate with what looks like some food and an urn that's been laid out for you by some of the junior initiates. You can
Go
on.
I was gonna say, yeah, step out to the plate, and I'm assuming that's on the central table. Ask everybody how they slept.
Well, I kind of had a little bit of an unsettling dream, but aside from that, I'm okay.
Yeah, surprisingly, considering my dream was, I just felt like I was late and couldn't find my way around things for some reason. But I feel pretty good despite that bit of a troubling thing. Well, I'm sure it's nothing.
The rogue also had a dream. The rogue dreamt that she was in the marketplace where you were back in Canley, where Mr. Pump caused a riot with the other golems, and she's surrounded by beggars and impoverished children, all clamoring at her to give her something to eat or something to drink or give them some money. And every time she pats her pockets, she finds that all of her coin, all of her riches are gone. Every time she looks at her hands, her rings are missing. The only thing that she still has is her little silver feather. Mr. Pump looks at you all as if you're slightly mad.
Do golems dream?
Golems.
Do golems dream of clay sheep?
Golems do not dream. But I had images in my mind when I reactivated.
Okay. Maybe you did.
Subliminal dreaming?
I had image of great stone column with carvings on it, turning very slow.
Interesting. Very cool, though.
You all sit down. You bring your small plates and your jugs of drinking water with you, and sit down on the cushions in the center of the room. Food is a mix of what look like spiced scrambled eggs. There appears to be some slices of bacon for each of you. More of the flatbread that you had yesterday, and again lots of dips and ground up paste-like food substances again. The food is excellent, if not a little samey. The initiates dismiss themselves hurriedly, and after a few moments, you hear steps outside, and Lutze enters the room. Ah, I see you are well rested. For is it not written that tomorrow is a new day? Haha, bit of a time joke there. The abbot is currently having his breakfast. We will go and see him before he has his morning nap. He gets very cranky otherwise. If you are finished, please follow me. He leads you out. He leads you out of the room, Down a different set of stairs carved into the side of the mountain. Again with the little wooden handrail that's been painted red and ornamented and gilded. And into a lower level where there is a huge room. The door to this room is guarded. You see two senior acolytes, dressed very similar to Lutze, but their monk's robes are bright orange and look positively brand new compared to his very washed and very worn and almost threadbare. They both turn to Lutze and bow. "Ah, sweeper, you are expected," and hurriedly open the door for you all. Lutze steps through. Inside is a huge hall. It's about the size of the sports halls you would have had in high school. No basketball hoops up on this one. Instead, you find yourself stepping out onto a viewing platform, and the hall continues below you. In the distance, you can see huge stone columns. 20 meters, 60 feet tall, turning very, very slowly. The columns are about 5 meters in diameter, 15 feet in diameter, slowly turning. You can hear the gentle grinding of stone against stone. And you can see on the columns that they are decorated. You can't see what the decorations are, but they are certainly not perfectly smooth. As you move forward from the back of the room, the next row of columns seem to be slightly thinner and smaller. And as you come closer to the foreground, the columns get smaller and smaller and smaller. And the smaller they get, the faster they seem to be turning. To your left, on this kind of viewing mezzanine level, you can see some of the senior monks are standing at some kind of a control panel. Lutze strides over to the monks and approaches the one that seems to be standing there barking orders at the others. "All right, how are we doing? Have we wound in those 3 missing ears yet?" "Ah, Lutze, no, we're having trouble balancing the cylinders." Lutze turns and beckons you over. "These are the time cylinders. These stones will wind in and unwind time. And this is how we can control time. For example, these small ones at the bottom of the platform. You kind of lean over the railing of the mezzanine floor and look down. You see small cylinders, possibly the size of a coffee mug. Actually, no, you can't. The magical disappearing coffee mug. Yes. You see some cylinders the size of coffee mugs slowly turning. These stones, they will hold maybe 5 to 10 minutes of time. The big ones at the back hold 1,000 years each. What we do is we wind in time where nobody will notice. For example, if you are a whale in the ocean, would you miss a few seconds here, a few minutes there, as you are diving down deep? But to a butterfly who lives only for a few days, time is all that you have. And in this way, we can steal a little time from there and wind it out to someone who needs it over here. And this is how we control the world. It is a delicate balance to keep the cylinders turning. And ideally, if everything works perfectly, they would not be turning. No time would be wound in, no time would be needed to be wound out. At the moment, the boys are collecting time from... What is that? What on earth is the Paleolithic? I haven't... Whatever he said. They are winding time in from the Paleolithic era, whatever that means. The big lizards. Are you sure? Did you have bad dreams again? So, somewhere, something is not missing a few minutes here, a few minutes there. He gestures further down, and you lean a little further over the guardrail, and you notice on the floor, on the edges of the smallest of the cylinders, 3 meters, 15-foot square, a pattern made of coloured sand. This is the mandala. This is where we see what has happened, what will happen, and what should happen. And as you look at it, you notice the pattern in the coloured sands is changing. When you first looked at it, it looked like a flower petal, like a traditional mandala would. But the more you look at it, you notice that some of the petals are starting to get a bit more pointy. Almost as if they've been turned from petal shape to triangular shape. And then some of the other petals start to become a little square. Here we can track everything. What has happened, what will happen, and what is happening now. Let me demonstrate. He waves his hand to one of the monks. Here we can track what has happened, what will happen, and what is about to happen. Let me demonstrate. He waves his hand to one of the monks. Let me demonstrate. He waves his... Lutze leans back and smiles. This is what we do. This is the job of the history monks. I bet you've never heard of us.
Nope, can't say that I have.
Not really.
Which means
You know.
we are doing our job well. Not all chrome and flashy like those monks of cool, eh? Right.
Mullet was frantically trying to write notes about all this stuff for his stories.
Lutze waves a hand towards another one of the monks, and Marlowe, you notice that where you've been writing, the page is blank.
Fine.
Please, everyone.
No secrets can be told.
Please, everyone. Follow me. It is time to see the abbot before he takes his nap. Lutze leads you out of the mandala room, back to the staircase carved in the side of the cliff, and up some stairs. He takes you back into the first room that you saw, across the great courtyard, over a small bridge, skirting around the Garden of Five Surprises this time, because the daisies are particularly angry first thing in the morning, and into the great hall, where the abbot sits in what looks like a baby's reclining cot, surrounded by his senior acolytes, each of which are holding various items, a blankie, a rattle, a variety of stuffed animals, and the abbot is looking a little cranky. Lutze, quickly, the abbot needs his nap very urgently. Your friends must speak to him now. Lutze beckons you forward. The abbot is wailing. He's grabbed what looks like a stuffed giraffe from one of the acolytes and thrown it at Lutze. You are here. Very welcome. Right. It is almost time for my nap, but we have a few minutes before I need to go. I hope Lutze informed you that you are here for a very special task. You have been collecting artifacts made out of a special metal, is that right?
That's correct.
Have you had a chance to try out these artifacts?
We've used a couple of them.
You will have found that these are very powerful artifacts, yes?
Yes.
Bigot! Sorry. There are 2 more artifacts which you have yet to find. When they are combined, they will create a god-killing weapon. All of these items were made from the dragon's own scale. The history tells that at the end of the Dragon Wars, the dragon gifted one of his scales to the last king of Ankh-Morpork. With that scale, these artifacts were made. By combining these artifacts, they can create a weapon powerful enough to pierce the dragon's armor. His flesh defeats his flesh. One of those artifacts is buried within this mountain. And it's a bit of a story. Long ago, a famous clockmaker decided to make a clock entirely of glass. He wanted to measure the tick of the universe. Not just seconds, not just fractions of seconds, or fractions of fractions of fractions of a second. He wanted to measure the tick of the building blocks of everything. He succeeded. The only thing that was not glass was the spring that powered this clock. That was made out of the dragon scale also. That clock, when it was started, destroyed the universe. It took us many years, metaphorically speaking, of course, to put the universe back together and to dismantle this clock and prevent it from ever being remade. To ensure that, we took the spring, the only possible thing that could power such a clock, and we hid it deep inside this mountain. The dwarves that mined this mountain guard it for us, and they have guarded it well these many hundreds of years. But these last few hundred years, we have lost contact with these dwarves. Some go into these mountains, into the mines within the mountains, to trade with the dwarves. But the dwarves no longer come to the surface. The dwarves believe that the world outside and above is but a bad dream, that the sky does not exist. These are what they call deep down dwarves. It has been several hundred years since we have had contact with them, but the rumors are that this spring, still inside its pendulum, has become an object of worship for these dwarves. We task you to go in there with our help, but you will need to retrieve this clock spring if you wish to assemble the weapon. Now, you already know about the prophecy, yes?
A little.
I'm going back through my notes to see if I can find where I wrote it down. It's been a while. Bear with me a moment.
I believe it was when we were going through the museum.
To be fair, a lot's happened since then, and I've reordered my notes much in that time. I think it's probably pinned to the very first page of the notebook.
I'm gonna sneak another coffee here.
Okay, I have found it. Carry on, Brian.
Okay.
So, the prophecy comes in 3 parts, of which you know 2. Mark, you might want to write this down if you haven't already.
No.
The first part of the prophecy you found on a standing stone. This was also written inside the dragon's chamber, so this was long before you joined the game.
Right.
In a time of fire, there became a great peace.
Okay, in a time of fire, there became a great peace.
In a time of peace, there became a great treachery.
Okay, in a time of peace, there became a great treachery.
In a time of treachery, there became a great sadness.
Okay, in a time of treachery, there became a great sadness.
And in that sadness do we dwell.
In that sadness do we dwell. Okay.
So that was in the dragon's original prison chamber. It was also on a small monolith that you passed while you were trudging through the deserts. This is the story up to the point of the little Prince Ilian, or the ghost of Prince Ilian that you met under the cathedral catacombs. This was the story of the Dragon Wars, and how the dragon, the King Olaf's own senior advisor, led the band of evil wizards that killed the king, killed all of his knights, killed all of the dragons but the great dragon, who was then imprisoned in the mountain to power their magical spells. The second part of the prophecy you found in the Great Pyramid of King Tepikaimon I. Unite the polar fires
Unite the polar fires.
and unite the last hearts.
And unite the last hearts.
Extinguish the last fires.
Extinguish the last fires.
And destroy the broken souls.
And destroy the broken souls.
No path can be seen
No path can be seen.
nor walked nor charted
Nor walked nor charted.
no choice foreseen
No choice foreseen.
Yet upon choice we must rely.
Yet upon choice we must rely.
And that's the second part of the prophecy which you saw in Pharaoh's pyramid. The abbot recounts these almost as if he's recalling them from memory. This is the story that we have chosen for the future of the world. This is your path. This is your mission, whether or not you choose to accept it. Beneath the mountain, you will find the spring. The mines are deep and they are far. It will not be an easy task. We cannot help you in that part of your journey. But once you have the spring, you will return to us. Your falcon will be ready, and you can fly to the next part of your journey, the next part of the prophecy. Lutze will take you to our... the abbot grimaces as he says this. To our gadget master, who will provide you with items or equipment that you think you will need for this journey. But for now, it is time for my nap. He waves at the senior acolytes who descend upon him like a team of nannies, bundling and wrapping and swaddling him up, shoving a pacifier in his mouth, and then reverently carrying him off to a side chamber for dodo time.
You look like a little caterpillar.
The green stripy blanket and a little red hat. I have that costume. Actually, yeah. Let me just. I'm just going to take a moment just to kind of break up the game a second. Anybody who's watching, you know how this works. Deal with it. When the eldest granddaughter was born, I bought that Hungry Caterpillar costume on eBay, and we took some photos of her wearing it. I'm just wondering if I've got them on my Google Drive. Yes, I have. Hang on. If you've got the stream open, you'll be able to see it. So that's eldest granddaughter. When was this taken? Properties. Yeah, May 2021. So yeah, we had to get cute pictures of her as the Hungry Caterpillar. And then that's my youngest stepdaughter, the mum. That who I've referred to as the little one, but she's not really that little anymore. So yeah, Hungry Caterpillar. There are now 3 of the grandkids, because little one didn't learn her lesson. It's funny how that works out with kids, isn't it? But yes, Hungry Caterpillar. Lutze bows as the abbot is escorted to nap time. I will take you down to see Q. Q will outfit you with any items or equipment that you need. You also have access to the dojos if you wish to train or practice with any of your items, weapons, or new equipment. You also have access to the library, where you can research information, and if you are magic users, you can learn your spells here. Our libraries are vast and very extensive. For now, as the abbot has said, you will be traveling down into the mountain. This will be a long journey. I would suggest that you equip yourselves as such. Do you have any questions?
So we are going to be totally on our own going down in here.
We cannot help you in this matter. We can influence, but we cannot change. But is it not written, fail to prepare and prepare to fail?
Mm-hmm.
So let us prepare.
Yes.
Lutze claps his hands. Some of the junior initiates appear. He bows to them and gestures for you to follow them. You follow them through one of the side doors in this great room, down a quite odd and a very out of character winding set of stone staircases, almost as if you're walking down the inside of a turret in a castle, going down into a basement area. But it opens up into a huge stone-carved room, supported by many, many columns. And littered throughout this room are workbenches of all different sorts. There are workbenches that look like they are for creating potions. Workbenches with books stacked up and scrolls of paper everywhere. Workbenches with tools that a artificer or you would expect a gnomish inventor to be at. Workbenches that have complicated pieces of glass and coloured orbs laying on them. Workbenches of every type, including many that you do not understand, because you have never seen tools such as this. As players, it looks like the inside of a Tesla factory. Not on fire, by the way. And at every one of these workbenches is one or a number of monks, acolytes, or senior initiates frantically and busily working away. There are also workbenches that look like draftsmen's tables with huge sheets of paper, with monks scrawling and scribbling all over them. Some drawing what look like plans or diagrams. Some just writing out recipes or recording events as things go bang, or things go poof, or things start flashing around various places in the room. You also notice that many of these monks, acolytes, or initiatives are not human. There are mixes of many races here, many gnomes, some dwarves. You see what look like quite a large number of, well, frankly, they look like Cornish pixies, but you would never say that to their face. The polite term for these are the Knack McFeagles. Little blue humanoid shaped characters, about 12 centimeters or so, 12 inches or about 30 centimeters tall, dressed like ancient Celtic clansmen and bodies painted blue with painted geometric designs all over them, wearing kilts, although the kilts don't seem to be covering much. And they mostly seem to be shouting and fighting with each other or sitting in the corner looking drunk. You also see a number of golems working away in the workshop, and in the corner, a yeti. The initiate leads you through the workbenches. Please do not touch anything. Everything here, very, very dangerous. We lose many people. The amount of cylinder runtime we have to use to repair all this is crazy. But please, follow me. He leads you through to the center of this great hall, and in there is a huge semicircular table. at which stands a very eccentric-looking man, wearing monk's robes, but also with a leather apron kind of tied to his front. Shocking white hair, not unlike Brian's, splayed out in every direction like some kind of mad scientist. He turns towards you, and you can see that he's wearing a set of spectacles with lots of weird coloured lenses on them, on various arms, and lifts several of these out of the way. Ah, welcome, 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 welcome. Yes, Lutze said you would be here. I am Q. You have a mission. I have things for such missions. Lutze doesn't like coming down here because he doesn't trust clockwork. Like it's some evil word. He prefers straightforward magic, but there you go. Anything you need, I can craft, I can create, I can make for you, if we do not already have it. For example, he hands you what looks like a glass test tube. Give that a shake, see what happens.
I will shake it.
You shake it, and it starts glowing.
A chemical stick.
We call that the stick that glows. Very handy when it is dark. He gestures to his other side, where what looks like, and I say looks like because you've never seen one in real life, but looks like an orc, is holding a large crossbow. He gives a little wave of his finger, and the crossbow is fired, and what appears to be a boat anchor goes flying across the room with a rope attached to the back of it. It hooks around, it wraps around one of the columns, and then the orc is yanked off of his feet as the rope winds back into the crossbow device. This one is a bit experimental, useful for getting places when you are in a hurry.
I would say so. Interesting.
We can do
Like
lots
an
of...
automatic grappling hook.
Well, we have lots of little tricks here for you. For example, he pulls something out of a pocket and holds it out to you. It's about the size of a golf ball. It's completely black. He taps the top of it, and two little clown shoes appear from the bottom, and a little handle comes out of the side, which he starts to wind. A little clockwork handle. He releases it onto the floor, and the little clown shoes start walking across the floor. You see everyone suddenly scatter out of the way. After a few seconds, it reaches the edge of one of the benches and explodes. We can do those with bright lights, or with smoke, or good old-fashioned powder. Whatever you need. I have a pair of chattering teeth around here somewhere, but, well, they have a habit of getting away from you if you don't keep an eye on them. Now, the abbot tells me that you are going down into the mountain, so you will need to be equipped for how do the mortals call it? Dungeoneering. We have some packs prepared for you with the usual rope and pitons and climbing equipment. But if you have special items that you are requiring, please make a list and we will have them ready for you. There is one very special item I would like to show you, though. We only have one. It is very, very experimental. Which one of you is the magic user?
Depends on what type of magic you're talking about. Are you talking about the holy man magic or the normal magic?
Well, that answers my question perfectly. Q turns to you, to Marlowe. He holds up his hand, and he appears to be wearing what looks like a wristwatch. Wristwatches don't exist in the disc, but it is a metal disc with a bezel on the outside that he turns. Let me demonstrate. He turns it. Click, 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 click. Let me demonstrate. Click, 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 click. Let me demonstrate. Click, 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 click.
It's a time rewinder.
Yeah. Time
Ah.
turner.
Very perceptive. This device has the ability to stop time for 6 seconds or rewind time for 6 seconds.
Nice.
So this translates to 1 full attack round that you can pause time for and have free action within it, or you can rewind time by 1 full attack round, effectively giving you a do-over.
Mulligan.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay.
He unbuckles it and straps it onto Marlowe's wrist. You protest at this initially, but the watch kind of stretches and shrinks to fit your wrist perfectly. Use this one very carefully. Very carefully. It has only 1 use per day. It is what they call an automatic. It recharges by the movement of your body.
Very, very interesting.
So if you do have your character sheet, you might want to notice. You might want to note that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm wondering if that crossbow would be kind of useful, even though it's experimental.
We could probably provide you with one, yes. Do you want it for 1 user or for multiple?
Well, depending on the situation, probably be best for each one of us to get one.
While you are discussing this, there is a bang and a clatter from one of the benches behind you. Can I get dexterity saving throws from everyone, please?
Dirty 20.
I rolled under my monitor. Well, I don't need to add a modifier to that.
That good, huh?
Yeah, that good.
Okay. Sam got an
Roll
8.
of 1.
Brian, you and Sam, well, Marlowe turns around at the sound of this crash in time to step out of the way. The rogue turns around a little slower at the sound of this crash and almost manages to step out of the way. The cleric, unfortunately,
I walk right into it.
the cleric, unfortunately, does not react to this sound. Marlowe, you see what looks like a bright, continuous red beam of light play across the floor and up the wall before it fizzles out. The tip of the rogue's boots are slightly singed by this, but that's not going to affect her boots because they are magical boots. Brian, you've lost most of your cloak. In fact, your cloak is slightly on fire. As some of the lower level initiates start running around with buckets of water and buckets of sand trying to put the fire out.
I'll be right back. I gotta grab dinner. I'm gonna mute, but I'll be listening.
Actually, no, wait. There's something we can try here. He gestures to one of the other initiates, who comes back with a cylinder that has a funnel on the end. He bangs the top of it, and a big cloud of white gas is emitted from the cylinder, extinguishing the fire. We call this one the putting out fires device. Very useful. It's a real pain to recharge, though. We have to leave it in a forest for about 10,000 years to absorb the gases that the trees breathe out.
Hmm.
What I would suggest is make a list of the items you need and we will have them made up for you. Any items you require, magical or otherwise, we will be able to source. Do you have any questions?
Do we have like a map of this area where we're going to?
There was a map once, but that was over 1,000 years ago. The mines have changed much in that time. Good evening, Eric. Eric is on the way home. We're probably not going to be going for too much longer. We're just doing some backstory stuff here, so you haven't missed a huge amount. And I will be putting a copy of this up on YouTube, so you can rewatch the bits that you've missed there. The mines have changed much in those times, so I would not expect any map to be correct.
Hmm. So then it's just trying to figure out each situation on what we would need.
What I can tell you is that the upper levels of the mine are the oldest parts. But the dwarves dug down as dwarves do, and as mines do. We expect the item to be located in the deepest part of the mine. The deep down dwarves, as they are referred to, are very much zealots. I don't know if the abbot mentioned, but they believe that the world above is a bad dream. That nothing exists apart from dwarf, and anything that enters the mine is a nightmare of its own making. We have heard some stories from other dwarves that have ventured down here to trade and barter for items. But much more than that, we cannot tell you. We have had no contact with them for the last 300 years.
Very, yeah. Tough to probably. Obviously, we're going to need a. You said you're going to give us dungeoneering, right?
Any equipment you need or require, we will be able to provide. Anything special, we will be able to make within reason.
Or trying to think what the.
While you are discussing with Q, he gestures to one of his assistants to one side, who looks like they are shooting a bow and arrow at a straw, a woven straw target. They draw an arrow and fire. This arrow sticks dead into the straw bale with a banging sound. He draws another arrow and fires, and you see this one explode with a puff of smoke. He draws another arrow and fires, and this one explodes with a puff of flame, setting fire to the straw. He draws another arrow and fires, and this explodes with a liquid splash, which immediately extinguishes the flame, and then starts eating away at the straw, dissolving it into smoke. Ah, you finally got that one figured out, eh? Yes, have that one ready for the abbot's tea party. Will come in very handy.
Carlo was just looks a massive confusion.
You
Yeah,
also,
I can't remember. Does Dixie use a bow?
I I believe so. But she was mostly relying on her knife.
That's true.
Q turns around to his arc-shaped or semicircular-shaped table and picks up a small item. It's metal. It's got red-coloured sides, and he starts picking at it and opening it up. It appears to be a Swiss Army knife of some sort. There's lots of little things that open up. Some of them look like blades. Some of them look like corkscrews or can openers. One of the items looks like a tiny little pair of scissors. I call this my pocket of tools. Could come in handy in a pinch. He gives that one to you, Brian.
Okay.
Do you happen
Do
to
you have
have
a toothpick on it too?
There is a toothpick on there, yes.
You know, grappling crowbar, crossbow things?
The crossbow is, we can probably get one made up for you. It is a little bit experimental. I don't know how reliable it will be in the field. He says those last two words as if they were in quotation marks.
One way to find out.
In theory, yes, it should work. The problem is the rope. We're testing it in here, so we don't need much of it. We are trying to we're trying to develop a version that uses spider silk.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the spiders get rather irritable about this.
Muscling in on their territory?
No, I just don't think they like being milked.
That could be a problem.
That was going to be my other guess.
Imagine how small the stool would have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. How much silk are they planning? How big of a spool of silk?
So, yes, leave that with us. I will add it to the list. He gestures at one of the initiates who frantically starts scribbling with a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of much else that I would. I mean, some of those glow sticks would be helpful, and probably some lantern oil.
We can provide you with many sticks that glow. Lantern oil, unfortunately, is very combustible, not something desirable in an enclosed space like a mine. But I can certainly provide you with that if you desire.
Mm-hmm.
As you're talking, there is the sound of a muffled boom that comes from somewhere outside the room. Everyone in the room stops what they're doing and looks towards the door. As you turn to look in the direction of the door, there is a blurring sensation in front of you, and Lutze appears. Ah, there you are. Quickly, follow me. He blurs out of your vision. Ah!
Well, how are we supposed to follow him if we can't see where he went?
Yeah.
He blurs back. Ah, yes, you cannot slice time yet. We will do this the old-fashioned way. Follow me. He starts walking back the way you came. As you step out onto the ledge, well, it's quite not a ledge, it's quite a large open space on the side of the cliff. You see a rippling, a very gentle rippling effect in the sky above you. And as you watch, you see a large white object, looking like a giant snowball, come flying down from the top of the mountain and impacting the sky above you. There's another boom, very muffled and very diffused sound, and the white shape almost splats as if it's hit a piece of glass above you. Right, we were afraid of this. Those dragon priests, looks like they have found you. There is another blurring sensation, and suddenly standing next to Lutze is a Yeti. It appears to be slightly slimmer and a little shorter than the one you met a few days ago. Ah, Lutze, it appears these dragon priesties, they have some friends. They have recruited the frost giants. They don't seem to be too happy about this. Lutze looks up at the ripples in what you can now assume is a shield protecting the monastery. Ah, we hoped we would have some more time to prepare you, but it seems they are already close by. We will be able to hold them off for a time, pun intended, of course. Use the rest of the day to use the library, to use the dojo, and we will prepare the items that you need. Both Lutze and the Yeti blur out of your vision, and you are left standing on the kind of viewing platform with one of the junior initiates, who's looking a little worried.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's frantically fondling his prayer beads.
Well, I guess we should probably get back to the library then.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What we'll do is we'll take a short break. I want to give Eric a little bit of time to get home and get himself sorted. I'm not going to go much more than another hour of gameplay tonight. Just want to keep it nice and short and sweet because we're missing Eric for most of it. We're already missing Sam. Right. So we'll take a short break. We'll take a quick 15-minute break. If you can have a think of any items or special items that you'll need, I'll not make that an exhaustive list. We can carry that through to next, well, not next week, but the week after. We're still doing our fortnightly games. At least that's what I'm going to try and schedule in. Items do not have to be within the D&D manuals. They just have to be within the world of Pratchett, which is frankly anything, including anything that you might find in a Zonko's joke shop, for example. If you want Peruvian vanishing powder, that's doable. So as far as items, equipment, weapons, potions, things like that, anything you can think up of within reason, obviously nothing game breaking, Q department can sort out for you. You will be leveling up to level 10, so you'll have an opportunity to sort out your spells at the end of tonight anyway. What I would also suggest is learn your spells now for level 11 and possibly level 12. You won't be able to use them until you've leveled up, but the standing rules of my game is that you have to learn, once you level up and you want to learn a spell, you have to learn it from something. If you don't have somebody there to teach it to you, you can't learn it. Right. You can learn it now and have it written in your spell books and prepared. You just don't know, you don't have the ability to cast it yet. So you can bolster your spells now so that if you level up while you're down in the mines, then you will then have access to those spells. So whatever you anticipate needing for levels 10 and level 11, maybe even level 12. Depends how much of a malarkey you make out of this. But if you want to prep your spells, you can go and research those in the library and have them ready so that when you do level up, you're good to go.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to call a quick break. It is 11:05 my time. So that makes it, what, 6:05 your time?
Yep.
So let's take 15 minutes. That'll give Eric some time to get home and hopefully get himself sorted. I don't know how long his journey is. I didn't ask. But hopefully Eric will be with us when we get back. So, yeah. See you guys in a bit.
Okay.
Okay. You have one artifact amongst you that will be able to help you. mic back on. Okay, we are back. As you can see, a wild Eric has joined the room. Mr. Pump is back. So, as we were explaining, again for Eric's benefit, as he's only just arrived, the history monks are the ones who control time. They make sure that things happen. They make sure that things happen as they should. They have the ability to wind time in, to collect time from somewhere where it won't be noticed, and to then wind it out, to slow down time somewhere else where they might need a few more seconds to finish something important. They do this by using these huge stone columns. And those stone cylinders wind time in from any point in time. So, for example, Sweeper was talking to some of the monks, and he was saying that the cylinders are currently winding time in from something called the Paleolithic period. Because no one's really going to notice if a few days disappear from down there. Sweeper took you in to see the abbot. The abbot has outlined your mission. He is well aware of the incident with the dragon. That has all gone so far to plan.
Okay.
He is aware that you have collected some artifacts made of dragon scale, and that these have been particularly powerful items. And he has made you aware... Sorry, he is also aware that you know about the first two parts of the prophecy. Quick recap, part 1 of the prophecy. In a time of fire, there became a great peace. In a time of peace, there became a great treachery. In a time of treachery, there became a great sadness. And in that sadness do we dwell. The first part of that was on one of the kind of standing stones that you passed in the desert. It was also supposed to be written in the dragon's chamber, where the dragon was chained up inside the mountain. And that told the story that was carved into the door of the dragon's chamber, where you've got the dragon wars happening and the treachery between the wizards and the dragon kings. Part 2 of the prophecy you found in the pyramid. Unite the polar fires and unite the lost hearts. Extinguish the last fires and destroy the broken souls. No path can be seen, nor walked, nor charted. No choice foreseen, yet upon choice we must rely. The abbot didn't offer any explanation there, other than that's the one that you found in the pyramid. And as the prophecy says, what can be foreseen, even the monks have limited visibility on some things. The abbot has tasked you to retrieve another artifact. He's aware that the artifacts you have already, Sam's knife, the one that does the teleporting. You have the crown that you took from the king's tomb that Prince Ilian told you about. And yeah. Mr. Pump has that golden rod that he keeps stroking.
Yes. Yeah.
All three of those are made of dragon scale. They're all made of the same metal. And they're all artifacts in their own right. The fourth artifact is hidden within the mountain. The abbot outlined that 1,000 years ago, there was an attempt to make a clock that would measure the tick of the universe. Fractions of fractions of fractions of fractions of a second. And when that clock was started, it broke the universe. The monks spent much time winding and unwinding time to put the universe back together. And to prevent anyone from attempting to do it again, the only non-glass item in that clock was a spring. And that little clock spring was made out of the dragon scale. So the monks took that spring and they gave it to frankly, a bunch of dwarves who have hidden it deep inside the mountain. Now that was 1,000 years ago. They haven't been in contact with those dwarves for a couple of 100 years now. Rumors have come around because people do trade with those dwarves, but it turns out those dwarves have become a little bit on the deep down side of things. They have begun worshipping the clock spring as a religious device. They believe that the world above and the sky is all part of a bad dream. These are dwarves that never see daylight. These are dwarves that shy away from any artificial light at all. And no one's heard from them in about 300 years. The spring is still there because the world still exists, but they're tasking you to go down into the mountain to retrieve that spring, because you will need it along with the 5th and final artifact in order to create what they've called a god-killing weapon. Now, from story point of view, whether you use that weapon to kill the dragon, because somebody has to redeem the Slayer Dragon sound effect here. I don't even know if I've still got them active on my Discord. It's been on my Twitch. It's been so long since I've used it. Does it work? I haven't tested any of these. I've been streaming a lot from the workshop lately. I don't know if anything works on my Twitch anymore. I probably should find out at some point. Yeah, so that's the abbot's task for you. The 5th artifact, the final artifact. That one works. The 5th and final artifact is in another set of pyramids in Muntab, which is the deep tropical jungles as you head out towards the end of the hub. So, you have a clock spring to procure. The party have just had a quick chat with Q, who is the resident gadget master of the monastery. So, if you need exploding false teeth or a grappling hook gun, Q's your guy. He has furnished the priest with a pocket of tools, Swiss Army knife style gadget, and Marlowe has requested these weird test tubes that when you shake them they glow, which are being called sticks that glow when shaken.
And I got the time turner watch thing too.
And he got a very special device that Q was wearing on his wrist. Very similar to a wristwatch, but when you turn the dial, it can pause time for 6 seconds or rewind time for 6 seconds. 1 use per day.
Mm-hmm.
So basically 1 full round of combat.
Okay.
All of these items are highly experimental and have yet to be fully tested in the field. He is offered to have anything that you require made up, created, assembled, pulled from stores. You have access to an extensive library. You also have access to the dojo if you need to practice with any weapons or items that you want to use.
Yeah, I was just looking. You don't have any of your commands. They're all gone.
Oh, another item I was thinking about, a wand of magic missiles, essentially.
Oh, no, yeah, my roll d20 isn't working either. I need to reset that. It's just coming up with an error message. It's been a while, hasn't it? It really has been a while. While you were talking to Q, there was a blurring sensation, and Lutze suddenly appeared in front of you, asking you to follow him. He then blurred out and blurred back in, realizing that you don't know how to slice time, and you've done it the old-fashioned way and walked out of the room. Q's workshop is like a giant science lab. It's like the inside of a Tesla factory in there. Workbenches, draftsman's tables, potion brewing, gnomes doing things that gnomes do, and some things that Cornish pixies would probably not do. There were golems there. There were all kinds of different races and creatures there working in the workshops. But as you stepped outside, you saw, you heard a huge muffled boom from all around you. And stepping outside, you watched as what looks like a giant snowball comes sailing through the sky, almost as if launched from a catapult, and impact on an invisible shield above you. At that point, a Yeti blurred into existence next to you and informed you that the dragon priests are nearby and that they have recruited the frost giants.
Okay.
Lutze has told you you have a little bit of time to prepare, but he really wants to get you moving by the end of the day.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I could get for Bun Bun. But I wouldn't know what.
A never-ending carrot sack. It's like a tiny little bag of holding, and you open up and look in, and it's like a vegetable garden. You just reach in and grab everyone.
Also, is Q your, like, did you just take it straight from 007?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It is also canon. It's in the books.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's called
Very
Q
nice.
in the books.
That's
So,
great.
Most of what's happening here I've taken from the book The Thief of Time, which is one of my favourite Pratchett books. And Q is canon because Q relies on clockwork, which Lutze does not like. Lutze doesn't like all this experimental clockwork nonsense. He prefers good old-fashioned magic. You can trust magic because you can see it.
Is there anything that I could learn from, like, using the dojo with my firebolt staff? Or am I like...
There are practice dummies, like the wooden training dummies. So if you've got items, yes, you can practice with weapons. Your staff you've only used in like firebolt form, what is it, twice now?
I think so, yeah.
It does have a limited number of charges. We did discuss that back when you were in the Yuntai temple.
Yeah.
You haven't yet attempted to use it with the other items attached, because the artifacts do assemble into a god-killing weapon.
Yeah.
Now, who wields that weapon depends on what the attack is going to be.
Okay.
Because traditionally, if you're going to use a magical item, you have to be attuned to it, which means you have to have been using it for at least 24 hours. But depending on who's actually holding the weapon when you do this grand attack, and as I mentioned from the beginning of the campaign, the whole point about this is that you've combined multiple artifacts that will do different things on the same attack. You've also got the rest of the party buffing a single character, preparing for something. Marlowe now has a watch that will stop or rewind time to allow you to do more preparation, so that when that person who is holding the weapon finally gets their attack, everything goes off like some grand summons at the end of Final Fantasy. And that's the key thing, and I think I've been banging this into your head since we first started the game, I've had to do the same with my real life D&D group that I play with on a Sunday, because I'm running the campaign with them as well, and they've actually overtaken you in the story now. So they can't even cheat and watch the YouTube videos to see what's coming. I've been kind of hammering that into their heads as well, because they've still not been cooperating and coordinating when they've been getting into fights.
Yeah.
So are we heading to the dojo?
I feel like that would be a good idea.
Are you joining Marlo,
Also-
or are you heading to the library?
Very. 'Cause I want to research a couple spells and try to research this my cloak.
Okay.
Also, the artifacts that they only combine, all of them combine to the one thing. It is not like you can combine like 2 of them or 3 of them.
You don't know yet. You haven't tried.
That's true.
Maybe I want to try that.
Marlo, you might want to hold off on the library for a moment. This might be worth watching.
Okay.
I'm just be sitting there with the golden rod and just like the crown or something, and just like putting it on, and it just falls off, and I'm just like picking it up and like putting
While you're asking these questions to Lutze, a junior initiate kind of like scurries up and hands Lutze a small wooden box. It's a little bit of a bigger box than Google is in, and hands it to Marla. There is a big red button on the side of the box.
I press the button.
A flap opens.
That's what it does.
A flap opens in the front of the box, and a telescoping lens extends from it. A flap opens in the bottom of the box, and out of it comes this long piece of paper being fed out, with lots of individual images being frantically hand painted on it by an imp.
And what are
Poor
these?
guy.
These are images
what
of what is directly in front of you.
So it's a movie camera.
I will. If I push the button, will it close it again?
Well, when you release the button, the strip of paper stops moving.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
You then have to go.
Um,
You then have to pass it in front of your face really quickly, blinking in between each frame.
I just,
Also, what is Google still updating?
Google is still updating, but Sweeper thinks he may be able to help with that.
Very good.
Unless, of course, you want to interrupt Google.
Nope. I've done that
So just
before.
spin time forward.
Yeah. Should I just give Google to him?
As you're kind of like taking the box from and the chain from around your neck, there's a little boing. The hatch pops open and the hand pops up with a little sign. It currently reads 58%.
Not bad. He's made some progress. So Sweeper, you said, yeah?
Lutze, but yes, Sweeper.
Okay. So I'll just take the box and just hand it to, and think, can you fix him?
One of these devices. We don't see many of these around here. Not much call for technomancy here. A little bit unreliable. He is updating. Where did you get the information from?
Was it the pyramid?
I think you let him
No,
loose on
it
the
was, no,
Oric-
it was at the it was the God, I can't remember the name of it.
You let him loose in the Orichalcum, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Lutzay's eyebrows detach from his forehead. You let this little guy loose in the Orichalcum, and you're wondering how long the update will take. I would be very surprised if he does not come out of this a little wibbly.
Maybe even wobbly.
We will see if we can salvage some of the data within him. It may be too much for his little brain to take. The combined knowledge of all species on the disc for the last 1,000 years is a bit of a heavy read, if you get my meaning. But is it not written? You should write that down, because I'll forget my own head if it wasn't screwed on. He hands it to one of the initiates that takes the box away, just slightly stroking the top of the box soothingly.
Uh, hmm. Okay, so then I guess I'll go to the dojo and just start putting artifacts together, or trying to.
Okay, so item-wise, Eric, you should be level 11. Everyone else is at level 10.
That's correct.
Whatever magic you are wanting to learn, because you have to learn it from something, or you have to learn skills from someone. Once you're down in the mines and there's no idea how long you're going to be down there in those mines, you could be leveling up multiple times. So I've told everyone to learn the spells that they anticipate needing now, so that when eventually they do level up in the mine, they already know the spell and now they can actually use that spell. In the case of Mr. Pump, that's going to be some of his physical attributes that you'll get from your barbarian class. So
right.
you can pre-learn stuff now, you just won't be able to use it until you reach that level.
Okay.
Are you all coming into the dojo?
Just going to the library.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a.
Okay, so Brian heads off to the library. There is an extensive religious section covering all the different religions in the disc, including some of the really minor ones. They're just really tiny little volumes. Meanwhile, in the dojo, Mr. Pump, you have your blasting rod.
Yeah.
Did you write down your stats for your blasting rod?
I believe so. Hang on. Get back to that.
Because I know I bloody didn't, and it's been ages.
Here we go. Let's see. 5 foot. 1d6 plus 5. 8d8 is what I've got for the firebolt, I guess. I'm not sure why it's written that way. 8d8 fire damage, and then 1d6 plus 5 bludgeoning. 5 charges plus 11 to hit. So yeah, that's all I've really got here.
Okay. Now, bear in mind that will scale with you, so as you level up, that will increase.
Yeah.
All the artifacts do scale. So as you level up, you'll do an extra D of damage for each level you get. So once you level up, that's going to increase again. One of the initiates scurries off, and Lutzay leads you back up to one of the upper levels of the monastery and into the dojo. Inside the dojo, you see a large square hall with a kind of a cloth mat laid out on the floor. And many of the initiates are practicing. Lutze kind of takes you around. Did I write all this down? I hope I did. I'm going to go back through my notes and find some of this stuff. He takes you through. You kind of thread your way between the different groups of initiates as they're practicing. Each of them have one of the higher level acolytes with them. Some of them are practicing hand-to-hand combat of various types against each other. Some of them are using the kind of wooden training dummies. Some of them are standing on tall wooden columns and hopping from pole to pole while trying to maintain their balance. And at the back, you can see an acolyte standing on a single pole in a fighting stance as these huge iron spiked balls swing around him, and he's kind of ducking and dodging around them. Lutze gestures to the hall. Here we have many of the martial arts practiced here within the valley. I personally do not hold much with all this bouncing around. For example, he gestures to two initiates who are kind of hopping around in like a fighting position, not actually attacking each other, just circling round and round and round each other. Okie dokie, lots of hopping around like bunny rabbits. Me, I prefer my own style. I practice the art of deja vu. Yes, I'm pretty sure you knew I was going to say that. He leads you over to one of the wooden practice dummies, and as he steps towards it, the entire hall goes silent. All of the acolytes turn and bow towards him and sit down in their spots, patiently waiting to see what happens. At the far end, the senior acolyte, who was balanced on the pole, sits down on the pole rather too suddenly, and there's a slight yelp. There's also the thud as he is hit by one of the spiked balls and knocked off. Lutze holds out his hand. Your staff, please.
Like that?
Yes.
Oh wait, no. I was gonna give him 5, but that would probably break his hand or something. Yeah, okay, I'll give him the staff.
Do you want to give him 5?
No. Nope.
Shimin, welcome in, sir. Welcome in. I'll pull his finger. Seriously, give him 5, Mr. Pump. Give him 5. Let me see what the dice says. So he's holding out his hand like that.
Yeah.
Give me a dexterity roll, please.
Dexterity. Okay. Here we go. 16 plus 1, I believe. 17.
17.
Yeah.
As you go to smack the hand, Lutze blurs. And then you see him do, haha, too slow. He holds out the other hand. Your staff, please.
Okay. I'll hand him the staff.
He takes the staff. In its compacted form, it's about the size of a running baton. Looks at it, and the staff extends to its full length. At full length, it is almost 2 meters long. He examines it carefully. Ah, I see you have been using it already. Does it perform well?
Yes.
Ah, the finesse on
It
this.
makes fire nice.
It will make much more than fire in the right hands. Allow me to demonstrate. He gestures towards Dixie for her knife. She draws the evil-looking black-bladed knife from her belt, hands it to Lutze, and he starts screwing it into the end of the staff. The blasting staff now has turned into a spear. He holds out his hand to the cleric for the crown.
Okay.
You hand him the crown, and he threads the end of the spear through the crown to about a quarter of the way down and releases the crown, and it starts hovering just below where the knife and the staff have joined together. He gives it a little spin with his finger, and the crown starts to rotate.
Okay.
He leans. He turns around. Better step back, boys.
Step back.
Lutze charges towards the dummy. Well, he assumes a fighting stance towards the dummy. Then you see a blur. The next thing you notice, he is teleported to the dummy. There is a huge blast of light and energy, and the dummy explodes into dust. Dust and splinters. Are you at the Marlow? Or are you at the library?
Yeah. No, I wanted to watch this.
Okay. Lutze gestures to you. Try the watch.
I give it a spin. Give it a twist.
The cloud of dust recombines into the wooden training dummy, and Lutze has blurred back to his original position.
Way cool. That's pretty cool, dude.
Dixie's knife allows her to do essentially Misty Step. So when she throws the knife, she will Misty Step to the hilt of the knife at the point that it impacts with its target. So she basically teleports to the attack. And then the idea is that from there, she's like basically point blank into the target and then can complete whatever acrobatic move that she wants to do. The blasting rod has added extra damage to that teleport. The crown and what the crown does at this stage is unclear. Because so far, the crown has only been affecting the wearer, and that's been Brian.
Right. But now that the rod is the wearer, technically.
You'll find out when you use that. But the crown's ability only affects the person that's wearing the crown. It's not something you've ever been able to know about unless Brian's told you what's happened after the fact.
Yeah.
And from what you know, the crown allows you to communicate with the dragon.
Also gives you a splitting headache after using it.
You do take a fair bit of psychic damage doing that.
I want to ask Lutze if the teleporting was his thing or the staff's, the weapons thing.
He comes out of his fighting stance and holds the staff in one hand and just twirls it casually. Needs a bit more work, wouldn't you say?
I
We
suppose.
need to put more spring into our step.
Well,
To say the least.
when you have the clock spring attached, your wizard friend will not need to use his watch.
Interesting. Okay.
It'll be a question on how tight you can wind that spring.
Can I try? The staff, that is.
In its assembled state?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you attacking or are you throwing it or?
I feel like I would want to try to do what he did. Probably very, very poorly.
Okay. You take the staff. You assume a spearman's position, and you lunge towards a target that is at the other side of the room.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not running up to it. You just lunging the staff towards it, even though it's at the other side of the room. A couple of things happen.
Okay.
First of all, you feel everything go a little bit wobbly.
Wibbly wobbly, maybe?
Just wobbly.
Okay.
The next thing you notice is that you appear to be floating. There's the sound of air rushing around you, and you seem to be soaring through clouds, but you're not on the falcon. What is this?
Oh,
A new
God.
mind. Ah, you are the one they call Pump.
Yeah? Hello?
What treachery have these monks unleashed upon me? They are teaching you to assemble a weapon. They are training you in the use of this weapon. A weapon designed for one thing: to slay me. If you could take psychic damage, you would be crippled about now.
Mm.
How dare they interfere? How dare they play this game with their gods? You have no idea what you have opened here, what you have begun, what path they have set you upon. The dragon almost stops in midair, and you look around through his eyes as he's beating his wings high above a mountain. The mountain looks familiar. As he looks upwards, the mountain continues up and up and up until a needle-like peak at the top of it. There's a huge whoomp of air as the wings beat down, and he shoots up towards the tip of the mountain. You look through the dragon's eyes as he starts circling the very top of Cori Celesti, looking down upon the home of the gods. From this angle, they look like tiny little ants running around frantically, screaming and shouting. And you watch through the dragon's eyes as he unleashes a cone of fire down on towards Dunromin, the home of the gods. At that point, you impact the training dummy. and the dummy explodes, doing the equivalent of 20d8 damage.
That is significant.
You've vaporized the training dummy.
Am I still standing?
You're standing at what's left of the dummy, with a cloud
Right,
of brown splinters just raining down around you.
I just have a hard time believing that Mr. Pump would have the dexterity, I suppose, to teleport across a room and not fall on his face.
The vision is gone. The vision that you had, that's gone.
Right.
The moment the staff impacted, the vision ended. You have teleported across the room to the dummy, and the impact has vaporized it. You have what would be, let's say, a tectonic headache.
Yeah. I need to sit down.
You go a little bit wibbly, and then fall over like a stone being pushed over. There's the thud on the soft mat, and the little cloud of dust comes up. The acolytes will start clapping.
Was that face first? Did I fall face first?
Yes. Roll for face plant.
a very muffled. I'll be fine.
No, you're out cold.
Oh, okay.
You are fully unconscious, and you've got you've got a tectonic headache.
Fair enough.
But you now know what the staff does when it's combined.
Yeah. Do I know? Was I aware that it was the dragon?
Up until the flame started coming out of its mouth, no. But the voice did seem a little familiar, given that you were tending it for so long.
Yeah.
The voice was familiar, but it was only as you were circling around the top of Cori Celestia and it started breathing fire that you knew exactly what was going on.
Maybe this is a bit meta, so I understand if you can't answer the question, but is the dragon aware that Mr. Pump is the same golem that tended to his
Yes.
chambers? Yeah, okay.
The dragon is so much more aware than any of you know.
Ah.
Remember, you did meet him in Ankh-Morpork.
Yeah.
As the wizards were fleeing in all directions. Rightfully so. I've got to be careful not to mix up my live get version of this game with your version of this game. That's the thing.
The thing is I do have in my notes, although they're very limited notes, I do have that the dragon is my deity. I don't know if that has changed over time.
The dragon's attitude in general is that he is a true god. Right. And that all the other gods that are worshipped on Ankh-Morpork are just figments and imaginary friends. But if enough people believe in them, they pop into existence. He didn't pop into existence. He was there when the world was created.
Mm-hmm.
He is the true god. Hence, why he's currently burning the crap out of Done Manifested.
Yeah.
Because, false gods and all that.
struggling a little bit with how Mr. Pump would react to all of this.
Well, that's why you went from wobbly to wibbly very quickly.
Right. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Well, I don't have to think about it right now because I guess I'm still unconscious. So.
Yeah. All all the acolytes and the junior initiates are all sitting around clapping and applauding. Some are throwing popcorn in the air. They all seem to have enjoyed a fantastic show. Lutze, to the rest of you, Lutze is looking rather impressed.
I'm over trying to check on, attempting to see if I can wake Pomp up. Going, probably failing, but
As far as bringing Mr. Pump around to consciousness, everything with Mr. Pump works at a near geological level. Once the golem brain cools down a little.
I could always tap him on the head with my axe.
Or just a little tap on the head to let him know you're nearly finished. While everyone is cheering and applauding, Lutze is slowly dismantling the weapon. Hands the dagger back to Dixie. Hands the crown back to you, Brian. And watches the rod collapses down, and he holds it for the moment until Mr. Pump can be revived. I would say that is a rather successful test, wouldn't you?
I would agree.
Yes, indeed.
It looks like this is a one and done kind of thing. So you're going to have to give this time to recharge.
Well, we need time to assemble the other two pieces anyway.
For the moment, Mr. Pump is the only one that knows about the vision.
That is understandable.
Am I aware of the? Would I know the place that he was setting on fire?
You've heard about gods, but golems don't have a god. They have you.
Right.
You know of stories because people talk about these things. Given that most people have been worshipping you as Thanos up to now, like a conquering creature, because you're still wearing your kilt and you're still dyed slightly purple from walking through the garment district. You are still a conquering monster to most civilians. To the Muggles, you might as well be an alien. You are aware of gods. You have heard the stories. Are you 100% sure that's done manifesting? No. Right. But given that you know what Cori Celesti looks like, you can see it from almost anywhere on the disc.
Yeah.
And the dragon was flying up to the top of it, and you know that at the top is where the gods are supposed to live. But these are not your gods.
Right.
Brian might be a little concerned.
Am I still faithful?
Yes, that was the dream that Brian had during the night. Was Othala? He was in a room surrounded by giant statues of all the gods, and Othala leaned right down to him and asked him if he was still faithful.
Did he say? Did you say anything, Brian?
Oh, that's when I woke up.
Okay.
I dreamt I was just my paws and whiskers. I'll be late, basically.
It's the March Hare.
Pretty much.
Where's Alice?
Who the bleep is Alice?
So, am I gonna wake up anytime soon?
Anytime soon. Give me a d20.
16.
16. You're going to be out for a couple of hours.
All right. Yeah.
A couple of the acolytes have stood up and instructions have been given. Two pairs of initiates turn up with wheelbarrows. As the rest of you leave the golem in the capable hands of the monks, you hear something about a block and tackle being requested.
I almost want to stay by here and see how well they do.
We'll trust in there, and I'm going to head to the library.
Okay. You head up. You're guided up to the library by one of the senior initiates. It's comparable to the library at the Unseen University. It's huge. Think of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. It's big.
Mm.
It's nowhere near as big as the Orichalcum. Actually, I don't think Marlowe's been in the Orichalcum, has he?
No, I was not here for any of that.
The Orichalcum is basically like a small city-sized library. This one is Olympic swimming pool, small shopping centre sized. It's on multiple floors and it's arranged in a spiral.
And I'm assuming there's got a attendance. I will ask them if they have any books that can help me work to identify the history of my cloak.
One of the library attendants comes over. He's an acolyte. He's dressed in not orange robes, but like a deep, kind of like a dark vermilion red. Please show me the cloak.
I take it off and I hand it to him.
Shimon, don't say the M word. You know what happens when you say the M word, Shimon. He takes the cloak, examines it, and says, this is a very special item indeed. Would you care to put the cloak on?
And I put it back on.
He runs his fingers along the edges of the cloak, like down your front, almost as if he's smoothing out a jacket for you. And then runs his fingers along the hem of it as it runs around your body, and then stops. I think we have the answer. He lifts up the bottom of the cloak. I hope you're wearing underwear. And shows you that stitched into the fabric is the tiniest of letters embroidered into the base of the hem of the cloak.
And okay.
The word is furtim. F-U-R-T-I-M.
If you are T-I-M?
T-I-M, yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't say property of Doctor Strange.
As you repeat the word, you notice everything around you suddenly goes muffled. Everything around you goes black and white. You are neither warm nor cold, and you feel like you've taken off a great weight off of your back, as if you've been carrying a heavy backpack all day and you've just suddenly taken it off, and you just feel that little bit lighter on your feet.
Interesting.
The monk who was looking at you now appears to be looking slightly to the left of you. Ah, it appears the cloak is working. But this is not your average everyday item. Can I ask, where did you get this from?
This was given to me by a former member of the party who I believe picked it up with the rest of our artifacts that we had.
I said,
When-
can I ask where you got it from? Can you still hear me?
I think I repeat myself as to what I told him. We got it from.
He looks around
Right.
himself. Can you still hear me?
I'm going to take the hood off.
You flick back to there you are.
I was
Oh,
wondering
that
when
was-
you were going to click in.
I was like, well, I wanted to make sure, Okay, that's as I was trying to say, I received this cloak from a former party member who received it, I believe, at the same time as the party got the staff and the dagger and possibly the crown as well. So
The monk
where they got them from, I'm not sure.
The monk steps over to a desk and picks up a lamp. Traditional like Arab style lamp, like the kind of open tray with a wick laid in it. He steps up to you, examines the fabric, and then pours the lamp oil over you and lights it. Stepping back. You feel nothing. The fire goes out almost instantly. The fabric is not oily. It's not hot. It's not singed in any way or form. And as you look around, you can see that it is shimmering very slightly where the oil was, and then the shimmer dies away.
Fascinating.
Looks as if this one has many more properties. You will have some fun finding out what it can do. Suffice to say, you are at least invisible and very well protected.
Yes, apparently, because you could not hear me when I had the cloak up and active. Interesting.
So you are also muffled while wearing it.
Yes. Very nice. Oh, silent. Yes, I will continue to.
Now, this cloak was given to Dustin by the dragon.
Mhm.
This was his dragon gift.
Right.
I'll tell you now, obviously your character doesn't know this, and we'll have to find this out during the course of the game. The cloak is nigh on impervious to everything. If it's active.
Right.
It makes you invisible, it muffles you, so you cannot be seen or heard while moving. It keeps you at the perfect temperature, protects you from cold, protects you from heat. You'll also find that it will protect you from acid to a limited effect. It will protect you from direct fire to a limited effect. Now, if you are combining the 3 artifacts into a dragon-slaying weapon and teleporting to the neck of a dragon that you're trying to kill, this cloak might be a good thing to be wearing. Do you see my point?
Yep. I clearly, yep. This is this is the ultimate and cloak against the dragon.
The monk examines the cloak a little bit further, again running his fingers along the edges of the seams. Like many of your items, I would guess that it has a limited number of uses before being recharged. I do not think your average high street wizard would be able to recharge this one for you. My guess is it may be solar or moonlight powered.
I will. I guess these artifacts are so old that perhaps the library doesn't have any mention of them anywhere, along with staff and the Dixie's knife and the crown.
We do not have any information on these artifacts beyond what is rumor and legend. Even this item, I have never heard of one existing.
Very.
Cloaks of invisibility you can find anywhere, as is cloaks of elven kind.
Yes.
This is something a little bit more special.
Yes.
Guard this one carefully.
I certainly will. While I continue to also try to figure it out, too.
And for Eric's benefit, no, you do not get a marauder's map of the mines below you.
We've already tried that.
With the little footsteps of the deep downer dwarves moving around.
I do thank you for your assistance with this cloak, and I will endeavor to continue to work.
You are, as always,
all of its secrets.
Very welcome. If you need information for magical items, he gestures to a tall, what looks like a filing cabinet with multiple little drawers, but it's in a cylinder shape. It is basically index cards for the entire library. If you need further information about books, I can point you in the right direction.
Yes, definitely looking up perhaps some of the higher level spells of use.
So you guys will all be going up to level 10. Eric, you'll be going up to level 11. If you guys want to, sorry, you're saying?
I'm already at level 11.
You're already at level. Okay, so you'll be going up to level 12. Everyone else will be going up to level 11. I keep getting that the wrong way around.
Okay.
Okay, I'll have to read it.
So
I think I came in at 9, so I don't. You guys, I could stay at 10 for now, unless you want me to jump all the way to 11.
No, jump up.
Okay.
Because there should have been a level up at the end of the pyramid.
Okay.
Which I don't think you were quite there yet, but during that fight with the Yuntai, you would definitely have leveled up then.
Okay.
And did you have a conversation with Balthazar at any point?
I don't recall.
When you were fighting the genie?
Was I there for the genie? I cannot. It's been so long. It's been what, a year and a half?
Yeah, it has been. It has been a fair while. So yeah, before
you was the big whirlwind. Yeah,
the basically had a big whirlwind as a genie was flying around you and attacking you from all directions. I think the rogue had dug the lamp out of the sand And Balthazar had said, you probably don't want to go rubbing it. Which, of
Yeah.
course, meant Sam had to go and rub the lamp.
Of course. Because, yeah. Dan
Um,
definitely plays that I'm going to touch everything character.
if you have any interaction with Balthazar in future, it will probably trigger a level up in its own right. Balthazar is probably the most powerful NPC I will throw at you. He's mostly benevolent. Mostly.
Mm-hmm.
He helped out in the tomb at the Lich briefly as well, but he tends to pop up here and there. And he is a very, very old wizard.
Okay.
Because once you get beyond level 20, you don't really learn anything new. You just get stronger.
True.
The Minster of Discworld.
Okay, so so Brian, if you can sort out what spells and stuff you want to have prepped, prior to going into the mines, so for your level 11 spells, and then also make a note of what you want. Pop this down on your character sheet. What you want for level 12, and potentially for level 13, because you will be leveling up while you're down in the mines as well.
Okay.
Because how long you're down there really depends on you guys.
Yeah.
Same applies for Mr. Pump and his barbarian skills. Once he's conscious.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot to. There's not really any choices. It just things happen. I get stuff.
Yeah, with Mr. Pump, I'm also awarding you feats every so often, depending on what's been happening in the story. Because there isn't much that I can give you. You're not a magic user. You're still only using your gauntlets, your knuckle dusters.
Yeah.
So it is.
I am able.
Damage.
At level 12, I can choose an ability score improvement, or I can choose a feat. Should I take a feat instead?
I assign feats.
Okay.
So depending on what you've done in the game, I will assign that potentially as a feat. So it's usually it's kind of like how a DM would award inspiration points.
Right.
If you've done something particularly spectacular in combat, then I will allow you to have that as a feat going forwards.
I believe I have one already.
So your knuckle dusters, how long you've had those since Sankt Morpork, haven't you?
Yeah.
So those should be scaling with you for damage.
Yeah, I need to look at that. I don't need to do any of this.
Because your basic punch will still be just your basic strength. We'll need to start adding multipliers onto that.
Yeah.
But the knuckle dusters will do extra D8 thunderwave damage as you go up in level.
Okay. Let me see.
Janet did an exceptional job on those knuckle dusters.
Indeed.
Did I show? I don't know. Did I show you your Mr. Pump minifig that I still haven't sent you?
Yeah, I remember you sending a photo of it.
It's
sure.
upstairs in the workshop because that's where I was doing
Yeah.
the painting. I did make an effort on the McIntyre tartan.
Very nice.
Give me a second. Actually, yeah, give me a second because I'm gonna end. I'm pretty much gonna wrap up here for today. But give me 1 second. Let me go grab it.
All right. I should go grab something as well. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Here, I'll pump up to level 11. Alright. Like nothing. No additional stat adjustments.
So, Brian, you have your cleric.
Which we can't see.
Let me turn off the background. Get some light on him. It's a bit too much light, isn't it? There we go. He is holding a mace, but we had a bit of an accident, so I've got to reattach the rest of your mace. And he is silver-haired with a beard.
Okay.
I didn't go for the crocodile helmet because this one actually does look like you. If I can get it to come on, focus.
I just want to focus.
So that's yours. Sam's already seen this one because we were playing with these in Niagara. So that's Dixie.
Yeah. A little bit of midriff there.
Just a little. That's her like red leather racing suit. Like motorcycle racing suit that she wears. And when Eric comes back.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Pump.
Oh, yeah.
You saw these in Niagara as well, didn't you, Mark?
Yeah.
Mr. Pump with his McIntyre tartan.
And that's Marlowe. His rapier. Well, you can see it.
So at some point I do have to send these out. I hadn't finished painting them when we were in Niagara. I've added a little bit more to them since. But I do need to finish these off. But yeah, it's like, yeah, as is the case, everything's always been getting in the way. So between now and next time, because I'm going to try and stick to the 2-week schedule, if that's all right for everyone.
Yeah.
And Fridays working for you all.
Yeah, I'll make it work.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as Sam goes, it depends what she's got on, but hopefully she'll be able to sync up with us and get herself sorted as well.
I mean, I don't have anything going right now until, let's see, what is really till June 27th, because that's it's the rehearsal for my sister's wedding the next day. So
that's fine. If you have to miss a session, that's okay.
Yeah.
Now that Eric is back.
He's got his own tartan.
You're gonna have to turn off your background, Eric.
Yeah, that's.
You keep
Yeah, I
out.
know. I need to. Where's my? Oh, there we go. That is. Yeah, I love that.
So you've got the knuckle dusters. And I made an attempt. My painting skills have deteriorated along with my vision.
There we go.
So, yeah. Color-wise, it's not really showing up on the camera, but yeah, it's like a muted red. You've got the blues and the greens in there. And I tried to get the right kind of vibrant green to match the tartan. I think I got reasonably close. Come on. Where am I?
I think it looks pretty good. All things considered.
Oh, I haven't yet given him the airbrushing of purple. I didn't know if you wanted him before Ankh-Morpork Conquering or after Ankh-Morpork Conquering. Basically, I'm just going to get the airbrush from up top and just dust him with purple.
Yeah, I like it.
So yeah. You've had some time in the dojo. You've got an idea of what your weapon or the god killer does and the purpose of the artifacts now. You know that you've got one more artifact, two artifacts to find, one of which is your current task, and that they will all combine to create this ultimate weapon. Marlowe knows that the cloak is probably going to be very handy if you're going into a mega fight like this, and you will need to practice with these items to become better attuned to them, and they also will scale with you as you level up. Q wants a list of any items that you need, any special items that he can pull from stores or fabricate, or anything you can think of, he can probably assemble it for you. But given that you've got maybe 12 or so hours before these frost giants start raining hell down upon the monastery, he's going to be limited in the amount of time he can spend. So you might get something that does the job, but it might only work once, so to speak. So to plan for it, you're going to be underground for at least a couple of weeks of game time. It depends how lost you get in these mines. The map I'm working from is quite extensive. I will also tell you that the mines run to multiple levels. The uppermost level being the oldest part of the mine, and then the dwarves have dug further down and down and down. And the abbot believes that the clock spring and the pendulum it's housed in is kept in the very lowest section of the mine, which is where the deep downers would be, furthest away from the surface. When you're assembling your items, I would remind you that dwarves have night vision, and there is not going to be any natural light in these mines. So if you don't have natural dark vision, you're going to want something that will either help light, because if you're using your light cantrips, you're going to burn through those in minutes, given the amount of time you're going to be underground. So either a permanent light source that you can extinguish or control easily, that doesn't burn out, or potentially some gadget that will give you the ability to see in the dark. Have Q make you up some night vision goggles or something. Brian's got those in his helmet already. Mr. Pump has night vision naturally. It's just the wizard and the rogue that needs to worry about this.
The bard and the rogue.
That's right, the bard and the rogue.
Well,
Night vision
kind of,
goggles
because
would be nice.
Pixie's elvish, right? So she's got night vision, but that's more of a starlight vision.
Yeah, so if there's no light source at all, she's not going to be able to see anything.
Yeah.
I didn't even
She
think
needs
about
to
night
have
vision.
thermographic.
Essentially night vision goggles. Forgot about those.
So what I will tell you, one of the players in my live game here, relatively new to D&D, reasonably new to Pratchett. She's read one or two of the books in the past. She decided she wanted to play an emo goth kid that wants to be a vampire. Dresses like a vampire, sleeps in the fake coffin, does all the vampire-y stuff, but has no vampire abilities whatsoever. She asked Q for a pair of night vision goggles, and I gave her the option, do you want starlight or do you want thermal? And she had no idea the difference between the two. So I brought my thermal hunting scope in, and I showed her what thermal vision looks like through an actual thermograph. And she went for thermal, which is great until you're trying to look through glass, because it doesn't work through glass. It also doesn't work through solid objects. And you can't see anything if it's not giving off any heat. So if you walk into a cold room, everything's black. So each one has its pros and cons. Night vision amplifies very, very low light, but if there's no light source at all, you can still see nothing. If you've got an infrared illuminator like the military use, that will help, but that's like just holding a flashlight, like a torch above your head and guiding it around. But she went for thermal, which has actually been working quite well for her, given that her interaction with Balthazar, he actually gave her the ability to transform into a bat, because that was one of her dreams. and
It's a wild shape.
kind of, but it took her an awful long time to figure out how to transform back into human. And then she had a lot of trouble, like, it's like, oh, hang on, wait, I've got legs now. Legs don't work. So the first like 20 minutes of being human again, she's got to relearn how to be human. But because she didn't have any native dark vision, and she was one of the few that didn't, she went for like thermal goggle, night vision goggles in the game. So that kind of stuff can be done. There's going to be drawbacks to everything, and given that it's Q and it's short notice, it may not work particularly well.
I'll probably go for the.
So
For
while
low
you are finishing up, Mr. Pump, you are after about an hour or so, you're starting to come round. You're a little bit groggy. You're not entirely sure what's happened.
Right.
But you are kind of roused slightly by a vroom sound that's coming from outside, as another giant snowball or small chunk of glacier impacts the shield outside the monastery.
Is the dragon here?
The acolyte looks at you. Dragon? What dragon? There haven't been dragons for 1,000 years. Did you hit your head very hard, sir?
I saw the dragon. I'll explain what I saw. Yeah. I feel like I might have a bit of, hearing the giant snowballs hit. That my initial worry was that the dragon had come after us in my bit of confusion, but
the sound is the sound of the frost giants, the dragon priests that have been following you through Ankh-Morpork. They seem to have found you. We should have no problem holding them off. The Yetis are already on the way. We have armed the Yetis with hot cups of coffee. In the meantime, the shield wall will hold, but it would probably be better for you all if you would proceed sooner rather than later. If the priests and servants of the Dragon Queen are aware that you are here, or that you are attempting to go down into the mountain, you may not be able to avoid them for much longer. When you are ready, when you are equipped, the abbot will take you to the entry point. So I'm going to. Sorry.
Will I get Google back before we go into the mines?
If they can fix him before you go in, they will certainly try to.
Okay.
It's not looking good.
That's fair.
So if you can sort out your items, and we'll address that beginning of next time. Get your spells prepared, even if you can't use them yet. And everyone will need to level up before next episode, because next episode you'll be entering into the mines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're muted there, Mark. I didn't hear that.
Sounds good.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much for joining, fellas.
Thank you again.
shame we didn't have Sam, but she did say she was gonna try to get out of this work. But I know the way things are and the way her health has been, it's going to be difficult for her.
Yeah.
So it is it's now the 5th. Where's my calendar?
Be the 18th.
Yeah, the
So,
18th.
yeah, we're going to be looking at, and that's going to be Good Friday. Are you guys all going to be good for that?
Friday.
Should be. Because usually
I'll be working
dinner's
Saturday
on like
anyway, so
Sunday
yeah.
most times.
Because I don't know what observations are in North America for Good Friday and Easter Monday, whether you have both at all. I think Good Friday might just be a European thing.
Good
If
Friday's
it's
the
cold-
holiday, but Easter is not.
Yeah, Easter's just Easter, and
So you
schools
have
might be on holiday. But
okay,
that's
yeah,
about it.
we have Friday as a bank holiday, and then the Monday is a bank holiday as well. So for the UK, it's a 4-day holiday, Easter weekend.
Mm.
It's a
Yeah,
Catholic
it's
Get
just
the
a
thing.
bank
long
off.
weekend here.
Right,
Yeah,
so
we've got a
Schools on
long
Friday
weekend
off,
as well. So
okay, well, if everybody's good for that Friday, we shall reconvene for that Friday. So for stream, for those of you joining us on stream, thank you very much for joining. I notice some of you have been lurking in the background. Shimin, thank you so much. VJ as well, and a few others have been kind of sneaking around in there. It is good to be back. It's been far too long, and hopefully next time we should have the full crew. The story is unfolding, and I'm dropping lots of drama where I can. But yes, once you go down into the mines, things are going to be very different. We're going to have some fun with that. Right, so for the stream, if you have missed any of the stream, there will be a copy of this uploaded onto my YouTube. Twitch have limited you now to the amount of stored footage you can have on your Twitch channel. So I have had to delete the entire D&D playlist because that didn't fit into the 120 hours that I'm allowed. That was taking up close to 600 hours. So all of that has been now curated on my YouTube channel, which is still Omar K UK. But there's links to that on my Twitch page. So if you have missed any of the previous episodes and you want to catch up, that's on my YouTube channel. This episode will stay on Twitch for at least a week until they automatically scrub it, but it will also be uploaded to my YouTube channel probably by tomorrow morning. So that's always going to be available there. But in the meantime, we shall be back on the 19th, which is Good Friday. I hope everyone in stream has had a good one. Do we have any suggestions for a raid from the group?
Wood King's on.
Just posting the link for my YouTube channel there in the Twitch chat. Joni's, is Joni starting or finishing?
Yeah, Joni just started.
Gianni's just started.
yeah,
I've been chit-chatting with Joni a lot of late, so this is the first opportunity I've had to potentially raid her. So should we go say hello to Joni for tonight? Okay, text is there on the screen for the raid message. Once again, thank you very much for joining, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's session, all of you. And we'll be back here for more in 2 weeks. And you'll probably see more of me in the workshop over the next week, and possibly some more VR, which is the racing rig is behind me, because I'm still doing my VR laps. So there'll be more of that this week as well. But for now, thank you very much for joining. I will see you guys on the next one. And we are away.